Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Canon Event Pod, episode 15. We've taken a few days to cool down and
Hiatus.
a bit of hiatus. We seem to only take long hiatuses after major events and results. And I guess the last one felt big enough that we needed to take a little bit more time to relax, breathe, and be able to come back to you, our dear listeners, with some really thought-provoking analysis and opinions from myself. And joining me today, Aaron, as always. And that's what we're going to do with the benefit of some hindsight, with some additional, let's say, external noise that's come into the Arsenal sphere about conservative Arsenal and Arsenal not being able to, go away from home in these big games at the Etihad and Anfield and win, and what are the implications of some of that. So that's what we're going to break down today. We'll try our best to not go crazy and be completely emotional about it, but I don't think I've fully got over it yet, to be honest. I tried listening to a few more podcasts today, and if anything, it's just reinstated how vexed I was immediately after the game. And I don't think I'm still okay about it. But Aaron, it'll be good to hear from you, man. How have you felt post that game at Anfield and since then?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel, you feel a bit flat, I think. You never like to kind of peter out to a 1-0 loss, and I think unfortunately that is what it is. You always feel like you're left with something, you're left missing something, or you feel like you haven't really like done what you're supposed to do, if that makes sense, right? And it's quite frustrating, I'd say. I think when you leave a game like that, just because obviously you'd hope that you were going to be a little bit more entertained, or you'd have a little few moments where maybe you thought things were going to go a different way. So then to kind of like lose in the way you do, I think is disappointing. However, I think if we're being quite, balanced with how we feel, I'm sure there's a lot of teams who have played us in the past 3 years who felt the same way.
True.
Yeah.
As in, part of the way in which we've sort of stifled opponents and, made it very difficult to break us down. And then we end up getting a sort of a goal out of nowhere. And that was partly the game, wasn't it? Is that it didn't seem like any team really wanted to go out there and try and win. And somebody was relying on something special if it happened. And if it didn't, that's fine. Slot and Arteta seemed happy to walk away with a 0-0. But as it happened, something did special happen, and it wasn't an Arsenal attack that led to it. Unfortunately, it was a 34, 32-yard belter from Szoboszlai that changed the course of the narrative. And had we walked away with a draw, or had we nicked a goal, but it never really felt like we were gonna. And I don't know if a lot of the reaction that I'm hearing seems to be sort of course, after the event. So people have had time to kind of look at it retrospectively and say, well, oh, okay, but Liverpool, they weren't really in it either. But I think anybody who was watching the game, who really saw what was happening in front of them and what was unfolding, the momentum had shifted.
Yeah.
And my biggest gripe with the entire performance, and I think this is something that we can get into, and maybe we can break it down by sort of the first half versus the second half, but it felt like there was a tide and it was turning. And are we reactive or are we proactive as a team? And it felt fundamentally, and I think this has been a big criticism of Arteta, let's say from the mainstream media, but also from some certain sections of the Arsenal fans, is that he's too reactive. And I think this is where the game ultimately ended up. And we didn't react quick enough, or we weren't proactive enough, and then we ended up losing. So yeah, how do you want to break down that first half performance, let's say, and then maybe even starting with the team selection as well, because I think it all stems from that point, right? Of what team would you have taken to Anfield comparatively versus the one that Arteta did, and perhaps some of the reasons as to why he made some of the choices that he did as well.
Yeah. So obviously, I think it's understandable that he's going to go there and want to go with a bit more familiarity than obviously our new signings or our 15-year-old or our 17-year-old attacking players on the bench. So I think you can understand maybe why you're going to set up in that way. Naturally, we all kind of have our issues maybe with the left-hand side of our team and how that kind of translates to an attacking sort of kind of perspective. And, do we create enough chances? Are we dangerous on that side? Do we do enough? But ultimately, also, we have to understand that, the arguably the best right winger in the world and the PFA Player of the Year and the guy who scored the most goals and assists in the league last season also plays on that side of the pitch for Liverpool. So, we don't necessarily want to leave that guy 1v1 against our fullback, right? Even if it is Miles or Calafiori or Zinchenko or whoever. So you can understand why Martinelli does start in that scenario. So I don't think I have too many issues on that side of things. Obviously, from a kind of new toy perspective, I would love to see Eze start, because why not, right? Like, he's gone to Anfield multiple times in the last few years and scored goals there and got assists there and had great performances there. And he's been playing football since pre-season. So he's fit, right? He's fit and ready. But obviously, naturally, the way we tend to set up as a football team is very, very kind of like, regimented, and there's a system that you have to kind of be very, very bought into, and things you do on a micro level that affect the wider macro game. So throwing in someone who's only been training with the team for 4 days isn't really the smartest thing to do, especially not when it's Anfield away. So I get that. Obviously, then we've got Mikel Merino starting at like, kind of this Odegaard equal sort of position, but naturally what we understand from that is that you're probably going to try and play kind of like a 4-4-2 sort of system out of position. And I get that as well. I get that. I think Marino started quite well in terms of winning the ball high. I think he does do well in that aspect. I think he does kind of, add an extra factor there. I think from our perspective, we have because we've taken so long to review this game, he scored a hat-trick yesterday against Turkey, right?
But again, it's not a great Turkey side, and
It's
again,
not.
it's also the pace, right? It's the pace of international football, which
Yeah.
I think certain players do look better in versus the Premier League, which
Yeah.
is
It's harder,
significantly, it's way harder, and
Yeah,
especially playing in midfield, pseudo playing in midfield, which where Marino, and I think you've said this on multiple occasions, where he's looked better is when he's not involved in the thick of the action,
No.
closer towards our box, or where he needs to link play or progress
No.
the ball quickly. It's where he either is just, backing up against the centre half and
Yeah.
he can, affect play in that manner, or as a sort of a late arrival into the box and can try and, score a goal. But
single touch actions, I think is
exactly
probably his biggest kind of like advantage. And I think just to finish up on that quick point, and I'll let you kind of let me know what you think as well. I do completely understand the logic behind playing him in that area, and I get the whole idea behind it. I just think that, and then we'll divulge deeper into this in a little bit. I think the way you go to Anfield in March and April is different to how you may want to go to Anfield in August, when it's the third game of the season, especially when you ultimately know that this team is going to be one of your, or if not your largest title rival. They won the league last season. They're the reigning champions. And I think from a more kind of ego perspective, and just from an elite sporting level perspective, I would hope that you would go there with a bit more confidence to go there and try and win the game, and actually, take, it's not a free hit. I don't think any game in the Premier League, when you're competing with teams, is like a free hit, because, you lose the league by 2 points. You think, oh, we didn't do that. Maybe we got a point. But I don't think there's a better time to go to Anfield and try to win the game than the third game of the season, right? Especially coming off the back of a season where they've just walked the league. I know there's always going to be pressure on Arsenal. There's always going to be this media narrative, blah, blah. But we actively know that you have to either sit there and say, I don't give a shit what these lot are saying, or you're just going to be wrapped around their little finger constantly. So I don't see why you'd care about the media's stance on how we go there and play. I would just go and play. But again, I'll let you kind of come in there and let me know what you think. So that was my lineup issue already.
No, and I couldn't agree more. Right, fair enough if you might not want to start Waneri in a big away game like that, and especially in a position that he hasn't had the opportunity to play in that often, or at least start in. And maybe that level of conservatism from Arteta, call it conservatism, call it pragmatism, whatever you want to say, you can sort of understand in midfield, because that's probably or usually where the battle is, right? But to your point exactly, you've got a new shiny toy who's raring to go. You've done everything else in between in terms of hyping his existence. What an opportunity you could have given him to start at Anfield and to use that energy, because it's not like Arteta doesn't speak about that often as well, right? He often talks about energy, often talks about what you can transmit to the team and what you can transmit to the fans. And those are two sort of reciprocal sort of things, right? With that, you can often make things happen that might not always seem possible. And I don't think you could have explained it better. There's different versions of Anfield you'll play at, and a version of Anfield in August when, to be honest, they haven't been playing well. They've looked shaky at the back. I would have hoped that you would go in with a little bit more confidence and belief that you should go there and get not just don't play for a draw. You all and this is my big thing, and this is what I went off on to you with my voice message immediately after the game, which is that football games are played to be won. A byproduct of not winning, the next best scenario is drawing. You don't go to play for a draw, because if you play for a draw, you lose.
It is, yeah.
And that's exactly what happened, right? And similar principle, right? I don't know, like that game in Etihad 2 seasons ago where we played that stinker of a 0-0 where Trossard should have, crossed it into Martinelli and we might have won that game. But same principle a little bit there as well, right? It's like, why, maybe there we also went to play a bit for a draw. But had we had won, we probably would have won the league. And at that point we were ahead, but it shifted the momentum. It looked like we didn't want to win it at that point, that we weren't ready for it. We weren't really raring to go for it. And I think whilst this is in August and you can't really overreact to the outcome here because there's so many more games to play and Liverpool could get a few injuries with Van Dijk or Konate or something like this, and all of a sudden that the outlook changes. But it's about sending a message to the league in terms of how serious you are about winning it. And I think if you go to play for a draw, that sends a message. Whereas if you start Eze, and okay, maybe he struggles a little bit for the first half an hour, 45, and you take him off at 50 minutes or something like this, as he's did with Gyökeres, for example, against Man United. But he started him. He started him in that game. He didn't start Havertz. He started him. So he had enough faith in that situation to be able to play him. Okay, fair enough. He had a few preseason games, but he definitely, like Eze has played already at least one Premier League game against Chelsea where he's pretty much the best player on the pitch for Palace. He was match fit, and he would have given a makeshift right back a lot more to think about than Gabriel Martinelli did. And I guess that for me is probably the least risky option that he could have taken. And I think personally, also, I think Martinelli needs to be taken out of the limelight a little bit, because I think his performances are suffering as a result of him being overplayed, where I think he needs some time on the bench, to be honest, and to go and find his rhythm again, if he can find it, unless Arsenal are sort of moving away from him in that way. But yeah, that's my 2 pences worth on it. I still feel very frustrated that you had the opportunity to go and get that monkey off your back of not being able to win at Anfield, and you didn't really take it, and that's a shame. It's all I really see it as, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's it. I agree. I think everything you said is completely how I honestly, like I say, I completely agree with that. And I think, I was speaking to someone who's a Liverpool fan yesterday, and I just said that, what, I think it's upsetting that we go into certain games just with this feeling of like, oh, we're really conservative. And obviously I understand the need for control, and I understand the need for not wanting to lose, because naturally, like, for so many years we had this kind of narrative around us that we get bullied and we lose all these games and blah blah blah, right?
A glass jaw, right?
Yeah. And I think obviously now, because we don't go into those games that way, and we go in quite confident that we're not going to lose, right? It's not that we go in it's not that we go in confident we're going to win, which is the issue. We go in the confident that we're not going to lose. We feel a bit more comfortable, and we're like, oh, this is great, because look what it used to be like. And I'm like, well, the past is the past, right? And you need to leave it there. And we're talking about a different manager in a different era with different players in a different Premier League. So just why do you care about back in the day when Liverpool used to smack us up, or like Chelsea would be? It doesn't matter. Things change, right? What we should be worried about is right now, and how these players and this manager feels about their team going forward. You can sit there and say we've got the most points over 3 years, blah, 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 blah. But the issue is, individually there, I'm sure there's players like Declan Rice and like Bukayo Saka, if he was fit, and William Saliba and Gabriel, those kind of personalities, they don't like to go to places and not win games, right? They want to go to the best places, and they want to show the best players that, yeah, you think you're good, and I know you think you're, because you won the titles and you have the accolades to prove it, right? We don't. So the only way that we can do that is by going to places where you're playing and beat you. So when you go into those places and for example, like we talked about how you said Liverpool kind of didn't really want to win it either. I don't think that's true personally. I think what happened is we enforced our game on Liverpool and we stopped them playing and we were trying to keep that going. And Liverpool actually managed to kind of make a few tweaks and changes, which we'll talk about in a second, and then change it a little bit and change the momentum. I don't think Liverpool chose to play like that. I think if they wanted to play, they would have come out firing against us, right? But we actively didn't allow that to happen, which is a good thing to do as an away team. Absolutely. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just think the narrative that Liverpool didn't really want to win it either is not true. I think they absolutely want to win it. They're fucking at home. Right? If they had the chance to, they would have been flying forward with their players and getting the ball. They just couldn't do it because we were so good and so well set up. And Calafiori was great against Salah, and Gabriel was a beast, and Mascara was amazing, even though Saliba went off. And, you know, I'm sure we'll mention that shortly as well. But the point being is that I think there were opportunities there for us to really push on and take it to them, even if that's like half time. You know, even at half time, you say, you know what, actually, it's 0-0. We were dominating. We were. I think we were. I think we had the ball. We had most of the possession. Liverpool didn't even look like getting into our box. We were getting in good positions, but not really getting it just over the line. I think that was a really good opportunity to say, okay, cool, second half's going to start. We know what happens with slots teams, right? They start a certain way, they get to about 60 minutes and they change the way they play and they become a bit more possession-based. You know, unless the game, you know, requires something different, it's pretty obvious to see the way he plays. If you're watching any sort of analytics, you can see that. So you know when it hits 67 minutes, 65 minutes, 70 minutes, a high volume pass is coming on in midfield, and then a new fresh winger is coming on as well. Basically, is what they do. So what do you do to react to that? Do you react straight away or do you wait? Right? And Arteta's issue for me, and I think he's got better at it, but I think in the biggest games, I think he still gets scared. Is should I change it straight away? We're doing kind of okay. Maybe they'll be all right. But then football's a momentum game, right? As soon as that momentum starts to shift, trying to then gain it back can be very, very difficult, especially at Anfield, especially against teams like Liverpool. So I think I agree with you. I just think it's disappointing that, you know, you could have gone to Anfield at a time where actually there's not much pressure on the game. You win. Amazing. Fantastic. You smashed it, right? It's only a good thing. But for the grand scheme of the season, points will be dropped. Right, so how much is that really going to matter right now? Probably not. It's just a good ego boost and it's a good momentum shifter. If you draw, fine, you drew, whatever. And even if you lose, right? And then people will laugh and be like, oh yeah, we lost, fine. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I don't really care about the result. It is what it is. I put it to the back of my mind. I don't really give a shit that we lost the game. I care about how we lost the game. You know, I wouldn't really care. Also, you went there, cool. You got slapped 4-5-0. This shit happens, man. The best teams in the Premier League and the best eras have been slapped around. Man City slapped Man United 6-1 at Old Trafford that season, you know? Liverpool slapped Man City at Anfield 5-1 in the Champions League. This stuff happened. Liverpool lost 4-0 to Tottenham one year, right? This stuff happens. Like, you go there and sometimes you just get beat because you're going for it. That doesn't necessarily mean now your whole team and like the whole project you have, as much as the media will try and act like it is, it's your job to basically be like, well, fuck, block out that noise. Who gives a shit? You went for it and it didn't happen, but we'll see you again in January 7th. And then it'll be our turn. So I just think that, like, I watch games like Man City used to play against Liverpool. I'm talking about the high level ones, man, the ones at Anfield, the ones at Etihad. And they're really, obviously they're conservative in some aspects, but they're really just going for it. They're really just going for it. And in my opinion, I think as the two best teams in the Premier League, you have a duty to the rest of the league to put on a good show, especially when it's a season opener, right? It's a season opener. It's a third game. Well, not season. It's a third game of the season, but it started the season. You have a duty to the rest of the world. If you think you're the best teams in the world, to put on a fucking good game. And when it's a shit game, I think, honestly, it's a bit of a joke, really. I think you should all be ashamed of yourselves, because I don't watch football to watch you lot play like that. And I don't support Arsenal to watch you lot play like that, you know? And you could say, like, and this is why I get into my bit of a rant, really, about how I feel, but, oh, Arteta's this and he's that and he's this. The point being is that, okay, cool. I can maybe accept this sort of football where I'm quite bored with it, really, if you go and win titles, right? And you win big trophies. But not when you don't win anything. And even then, even if you win one trophy, right? So you're going to tell me the last 5-6 years of football, and not 5 seasons, but maybe last 3 years of football where I'm not really enjoying it as much, is worth one league title. Not to me, bro. I'm sorry. It's not to me, innit? Like, I don't want to win. I don't want to win titles playing that way. And I want to watch football that entertains me, because that's in the DNA of my club. We're not Chelsea, you know? We're not fucking Inter Milan. We're not Mourinho's fucking Real Madrid. It's
But
different.
that's the point that you make, right? And this is fundamentally where it's at. Like Carragher and people making comparisons to Arteta being like Mourinho. He ain't like Mourinho. Mourinho Mourinho might stink out the place playing horrific football, but he won shit. He won shit. And what he did was he would have gone to Anfield and he would have stabbed him in the back. They wouldn't even know he was there. He'll come in and he'll make sure he'll go and win. And that's fine. That's okay then. That narrative around, well, okay, you're playing shitty football, but you're going to be there for 3-4 seasons maximum, but you're going to win a few things. It's all right. That's at least there's an outcome. I think to your point, exactly, you're not even doing that. You're playing pretty sturgid, very, very controlled in this respect. I think very formulaic. I wouldn't even say it controlled, right? It feels like everybody knows what Arsenal are going to do. You can draw it out where the passes are going to go, more or less. The sequence of play seems something that you can almost copy paste. So then you have to ask yourself the question. Yeah, to your point, if we don't have the balls, the cojones to go, and at least try and not put on, I mean, whatever it means, right? Put on a show is a difficult concept to consider at the end of the day. But yes, football is entertainment, but at least just try to go to win, man.
Yeah,
were you entertained?
Were you entertained watching that
no,
game?
Absolutely not. It's horrible to watch. Same principle with the United game. We just managed to scam a win.
Because we could have easily. Because the point I make, sorry to interrupt you, is we could have easily lost the United game 1-0.
Of course we could have,
and then won the Anfield game 1-0. And so this is the problem. That's the problem. In my opinion, everything we do is so fine margin, and it's annoying.
When you know exactly, I think, and that's the most frustrating part, isn't it? Is that when you know the players that we have at our disposal at this point in time are excellent. This is probably one of the best Arsenal squads
since
sort
the
of easy. There's no comparison. There's no other squad you can pull up necessarily.
Yeah, obviously, I prefer from an attacking standpoint the 08 squad and stuff like
sure,
that. But defensively, never. They're not even close.
No, not even. But again, on paper, Bukayo Saka, and in theory, a very informed Martin Odegaard, and now Eberechi Eze and stuff like this as well, Declan Rice, you have the makings here of players who are getting into the world best 11s and things like this, or Premier League teams of the year for a reason, right? Mainly it's our defenders, but you know what I mean? They have that ability.
Yeah, they're there for a reason, yeah.
Yeah, precisely. And so, or why are we the most highest valued squad in the world? Yeah. Only Real Madrid is behind us. But by no means that's no small feat. So there's all the makings of a team here that should go and create a dynasty. That's the point, right? And that's what we spoke about in the Man United pod as well, which is the same thing. Is that what do you want to show from this? It's not just. And I get it; it's a different era, and it's not easy to build dynasties, and Manchester City might have cheated their way through it with 115 or 100 or however many charges, etc. Blah, blah, blah. But needless to say, you have the chance. There's a game to be won there and you didn't take it. And I think that's context, everything, and all the nuance that it needs. And I think we've given it here. But it's still just a bit, before the international break, you could have just made sure that you lay down a marker and given your biggest rivals a bloody nose. And just
especially when you know, again, just from looking at their transfer window dealings and what is going to happen in the next few days, where they basically get the hottest striker prospect in the world to join them when they've already got masses of firepower in their team. You want to say to that guy who basically apparently didn't want to come to you, even though you chased him for fucking 2 years, that, oh yeah, you sure you want to go to them? Because look at us, man. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We need to just accept that is just the way that he wants to play. And those players need to then pick themselves up and realize that you went to Anfield and lost. And it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not concerned that we lost. It is, I just don't care that much because it's one game, right? But my issue is more like a widespread, long issue where I don't enjoy us playing. I don't enjoy watching football. I don't enjoy us watching us play. And I basically find it difficult for me to extrapolate and have foresight of I think we'll win the league titles, because I have the same problem with our team that I always have. We do not have strong enough attackers to win the league. Saka, as much as I love the guy and I think he's great, can't stay fit clearly. Popped his hamstring again. I don't know if it's the same one. It might be the other one. I don't know. Is that
It's the other one. It's the other one.
Okay, well that's still not fucking good, is it?
Not needing an operation, but clearly,
I mean, there's an imbalance there, right?
there's an imbalance.
There's something going on in his body, which is showing you that.
And Arteta was pretty straightforward with it. Like, he's properly concerned because
of course you're concerned because
the fact that's happened so quickly after the last one is a big
this is it, and you're sitting there like, okay, well, how long are we going to keep him out now? Because you want to be really conservative with this. You cannot rush him back. Right? So cool. Now we're looking at Madueke, who obviously we both weren't that hot on, being the guy to then start, right? Fine. And then you look at guys like, okay, Gyökeres, finding it a bit harder, right? Gyökeres was never going to come in and be this kind of like Henry, Zlatan Ibrahimovic sort of striker where he can create for himself. But he is a goal scorer primarily. And with goal scorers, what you need to do is you need to provide for them. Odegaard's injured as well. He's hurt his shoulder, right? He's a bit fragile, let's be honest. It's a bit unfortunate, but he's a bit fragile. Yeah, he is. He just is. He's not playing now. And then you've got Martinelli on the other side, who unfortunately, like, I'm sorry to say, like, he's just not good enough. And I love the guy. I think he's great and everything. He's a great person, but he's not a great attacking footballer. So now we're looking at lining up with Madueke, Gyökeres, and Martinelli, and Marino as our creative midfielder, right, or whatever midfielder, something. So then you're like, well, that team, those four players, that's barely top 5 level, barely, right? So.
They ain't going to score you goals to win at Anfield.
No, they're not.
So I don't know what you're expecting, right? Even if you're like, you want to play to your strengths, right? Okay, you know you haven't got your certain, you haven't got Saka, you love Havertz, you don't have Havertz, you don't have Odegaard, or he's not fully fit. Trossard's not really fully fit either, because maybe he might have got a start instead of Martinelli potentially, or maybe instead of Marino.
Probably not, to be honest.
Probably not, who knows? But you know what I mean? He's not fully fit either. So there's this thing that maybe he wants to play from a position of strength. I think Phil Costa spoke about it really well in the Arsenal Vision podcast, which is, and again, none of us are surprised by what Arteta did. No. It doesn't mean that we're still not disappointed as to the choices he's made. And I think that's, if I was to speak to the rest of the podcasting Arsenal community, it would be that, which is that I think he needs to be braver, because if everybody's saying, well, it hasn't been better than this for a long time. Yeah, that's true. But you've spent close to £1 billion. And I get it. Everybody's like, well, contextually, the rest of the league is spending that much, whatever. Yeah,
Who cares? Who cares, man?
Sure they are. And they're winning stuff. Do you know what I mean? Liverpool and City are winning things. Chelsea, unfortunately, despite whatever the f***'s going on in their team, somehow they're still managing to win the odd thing here and there.
Yeah.
We're not. So you have to ask yourself, do you have enough in your tank, even if it's coming to selecting and buying the players you want to buy, all the way to how do you choose the right personnel on the pitch for the day in order to help you win the game? Yeah. And if you're not going to have enough creativity in midfield, then why are you choosing Marino? Yeah. If you're not going to have enough attacking threat on the left, and you know that the left side is playing with a makeshift right back, who was made to look way better than he should be defensively.
Do you know what I mean?
And you listen to the narrative about it. It's nonsense. Like, he had a great game at right back. No, he had a great game because he was playing against Martinelli. Anybody would have a good game against him. The only person who didn't manage to at the moment was Trent Alexander-Arnold for some bizarre reason, because it was the only... but he wasn't interested in defending in the slightest.
No, he wasn't. No.
But that's the point.
We just don't. Yeah,
and that's the difference, right? That's the difference. If you're going to be a winner, you have to go there. And I know you don't want to compare to the past or whatever, but we've only got those, in some respects, references. Wenger went to Old Trafford and won when he needed a win. Yeah, fair enough. It was towards the end of the season and Wiltord went there and etc. But you go in with that mindset of I need to beat you. I've that's it. So I'm going to put them, and the only way you can beat him is by scoring goals. And if you ain't got mans who can score goals or create goals, then you've got a problem. And
I think it's disappointing, man. It's disappointing, right? It's disappointing when you've got like Liverpool, who've in the first 3 games of the season they played, charity shield and 2 Premier League games, they could see 2 goals in each game, and then we go there with 165 million of fresh attacking talent, and we can't even work Alisson, mate. Like it's really frustrating because
our best attacking player was Madueke.
Yeah, and even then, yeah, like this kind of this is the problem with Arsenal because we're so starved of good attacking talent. This overstating of all this stuff, like when you watch him against Liverpool and you watch him against Andorra, and apparently now it's like you're so justified spending 55 million on him. Like, come on, let's be honest. Madueke's problem has always been when he gets in the box, yeah, he makes the wrong decision or he doesn't get anything off, and that's basically what happened. You got in the box and you pushed Kirkes back into his box, and then what did you do? You didn't do anything. Like, so you haven't proven anything to me, in my opinion. Like, you haven't proven anything.
No, if you scored, completely different situation, right?
Yeah.
And I think, and again, he has the beating of his man, but then what are you going to do with it? And a similar story, I think maybe we can break down some of the few points, flash points in the game or something that ended up becoming pivotal. I think the big one that frustrated most of us was when Martinelli had the opportunity to play Gyökeres through. Oh, and that big intake of breath, listeners, if you weren't able to hear it. Yeah, you want to play transition football, and then you're not making the passes.
But what did we say? What did I say back in the first pod that we did this season? Yeah, these lot don't even understand the concept of a transition. They don't get it. They don't, in their mind, in their brain, it clearly doesn't clock to them what the point of a transition is, because they don't do it. They don't do it. His like, I don't know what was going through his brain at that moment, right? But I can't even just begin to think about it because it doesn't make sense to me.
It's just crazy that a professional footballer is not lifting his head up. You're just not looking up. I know it's a perennial problem with him that he just looks at his feet too much.
We're talking about a professional footballer here.
But that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Not a 7-year-old.
No, you're doing this every day of your life, bro. Like, how is that not like beaten out of you to not that we condone violence on the Canon Event pod, but you know what I mean. It's pretty simple. You play the guy through, and I think that's the point. Sorry if that notification was loud. But Eze plays that pass.
Yeah. Straight away. Well, I mean, like, again, you know, you talk about that point. Again, let's not go too much on that because I'm just going to get angry as I was then. So it's just really silly, and I think really that moment was the moment that I think even the biggest Martinelli fans were like, you know what, I think you need to just come out of the team for about a few months, as in you need to just rotate out a little bit and just get back into training, get back on your form, get your confidence back, reintegrate when there's not so much pressure on everything going through you and us worrying, like, you know. Unfortunately for him, Saka gets injured, right? It's the worst thing that can happen to him because then obviously then everything starts to kind of equalize a little bit and it's not so much on the right hand side and then there's more pressure on you. But yeah, and I think the next part I would say probably was, so how did you, what I want to ask you actually, so there's been a little bit of talk about Zubamendi and you know, his performance and the discourse around him and stuff like that. How did you feel like, what was your thoughts on his performance before you read anything?
I have to be honest, I only like to read things when things are good type of content consumer, because otherwise I just rage too much. I try not to make Arsenal dictate all my emotions and feelings, but I still remember certain that game's still too vivid in my memory for me to forget. I think it's the fact is he's playing. This is his third game in the Premier League, right? Yeah. At number 6. Like, I feel like it will take him some time to adapt. But despite this, I've seen more good than I've seen bad. So I wouldn't really go too far into over-analyzing him. Like, I do think, has he been... does he take a little bit too much time on the ball at the moment? Yeah, he does. And a couple of instances where I felt like he could have played just a little bit quicker just to get himself out of trouble, but he hasn't. And then he kind of, there's a couple of instances against United and against Liverpool where he sort of just disappeared. And I don't know if that's just because of the way the game state and how it happened. And then, there's the pass out from Raya, who is supposed to go to him, and then Van Dijk basically just clotheslines him and walks through and then should have just shot.
Yeah. I mean, he just referees the game himself, doesn't he? He's allowed to do
of course he does. Of course he does.
He's allowed to do what he wants.
Not a single person spoke about that, by the way.
He's allowed to do what he's just allowed to do what he wants, isn't he? He's allowed to just kick everyone, and then as soon as he goes down like a sack of potatoes, he gets free kick.
And you could argue, right? If you're playing in that position as a 6 and you know you're going to get a pressure ball put into you on a regular enough occasion, you have to be strong. Right. So, all right. And if someone's going to come and clatter you, you make sure you take them out at the same time, because then don't give them a chance to do something with the ball in that situation. And I think that's something that he's going to have to learn, really. that it's a physical league and things move quickly, and and the referee ain't going to help you,
Yeah.
especially if you play for Arsenal, mate. You ain't got a chance. So I just think it's a bit of a reaction with him,
So
for me, to be honest. But
interestingly, I massively disagree with everything that people have been saying. I thought he was amazing. I thought he was great. I thought he was fantastic. Like I was swooning over him half the time, to be honest with you, because
in
I
the
think,
game itself against Liverpool, I'll finish your point. Like finish the point. Is that I was more reacting to where people overreacting to him being shit, which I don't think is. I don't think it was the case. I just think I think he was fine. I don't think it was terrible. I don't think it was bad, but I don't think it was amazing either. But that's part of the reason as to why also he plays the position that he does. I don't think for me, a great number 6 is one that you don't have to talk about all the time, right?
Exactly.
Because he's just making stuff happen. So yeah, and then please tell me why he's.
No. I was just saying, like,
do you next to Mosquera, was he our next best player, basically?
Well, I mean, like, I think the second best player on our team was Declan Rice. After Mosquera, I think Rice was amazing as well. I think, as in, when I say amazing, I think like people, like when they watch midfielders, right? I just don't think they understand like how difficult it is to do some of the things they do. Like in the scenario they're in, and like under the pressure they're under, right? I really like implore like anyone who it has like these Declan Rice kind of like narratives to just go and watch like maybe from the 70th minute to like the end of the game against Anfield, and just see the level that he's playing at, like of just taking on the responsibility. And I think I'll talk about that in a second. Basically, the Zubamendi stuff, the reason why I like him so much, and again, if anyone's listening to this and they want to watch it and they really want to know what I'm talking about, if you just watch when the ball comes to him, right, how quickly he will just play one touch, bang, and get us out. One touch, bang, get us out. One touch, bang. Like his one touch passing as the ball's rolling to him to release pressure whilst we're being pressed, I think people are only really, really going to see it at places like St. James's Park, at other places at home. When teams try to press us, we're going to kill them. And like someone, I think Clive mentioned this on like the Friday Night Clive, which was a few days ago, obviously, about how I think we've made an active effort to play a bit deeper from a defensive point of view, to make the pitch a bit larger, to then create like mini transitions in the middle of the pitch, if that makes sense. Because when we push up really, really high, it obviously makes the pitch very, very small, right? So then teams go into mid blocks and low blocks, and then it's harder to find spaces. So we can't really transition in that aspect, because there's no transition because they're all set up. But when you play a bit deeper and you invite more pressure, you then think we play out and then we can go, right?
You're inviting the trap. It's the early days of like the Unai Emery-esque attempt at playing out from the back and trying to soak up the pressure to then hit people on the break, right?
And playing more transition. And Zubamendi's like absolutely fantastic at that. And I think when people really kind of start to watch properly, they'll realize like how much better he makes us from that perspective, you know. And he might not be turning on it and going past someone, but this is fact that he already knows what pass he's going to play before the ball comes to him.
Well, it's a massive change to any number 6 or any midfielder that we've had since Fabregas, really, to be honest.
It takes time, you know. And then like if I was like, you know, just talking about the Declan Rice thing, the reason why I just think he's just like such an absolutely phenomenal footballer, like I'm just like in love with the guy, is there's times where like he'll get the ball and you think like he's like near the touchline, he's near like the left hand side or whatever, and you've got like Verts there, you've got Ekitike behind him, you've got fucking Szoboszlai pushing up on Martinelli, you've got another guy. So there's like 4 guys in one space around him, and he's got like, and you think, oh, he's just got no pass, he's got no pass on, and he'll just do like a little turn, a little swivel, push the ball forward, bang, outside the foot, and he just releases Gyökeres, and he's just taken like 6 players out the game. And you're like, how have you done that, man? Under that pressure. And then another time comes on with I don't know if you remember this. The ball like just went out. I don't even know if it went out or not, because he didn't think it did. The ball had just gone out, and he played a first time ball to Eze.
But had it gone out?
I don't think it had.
I don't think it had.
But the lino put his leg off, right?
I see. I screamed at the TV. I was like, "That's not out."
Yes,
because I'm sure that's not out. That full ball could not have been out.
Yeah,
there.
Yeah. I don't think so either.
No
but
way.
It's the fact that when he hits it, obviously the whistle blows. Yeah, and then I was so intrigued to see what he'd done. I was like, oh, did he just think that he was going to go out? So he kicked it. Ball fucking landed straight on Eze's foot. I was like, how has he played that ball under that pressure? And there was another time where he like 3 or 4 players around him again, and he just goes swivel 1, swivel 2, create a bit of space, plays it, and it's like you're literally unpressable, bro. Like you are literally the narrative behind you is that you're this like low technique English footballer who doesn't want to play forward. And it's just so far from the truth. I can't believe it. Like, he's just so exceptional. He's such a good footballer. Like, he is honestly one of the most perfect midfielders. I think you can even, if you had to create a perfect midfielder,
if you engineered your perfect midfielder, Declan Rice,
he's up there. He's up there. He's like fucking Captain America, man, with the secret serum. Like, he just came out of this chamber and he just decided to be fucking elite at everything. So I just think that, you know, we have such a massive like benefit with playing like the defenders you play and playing the midfielders we play, right? And the thing that frustrates me really is that we get told, "Oh, your defense is so good. Oh, it's amazing. Like, oh, you guys are the best defense in the league." And blah, blah, blah. But are we though, innit? Are we? Do we have the best defense in the league because our team defends the best in the league, or do we have the best defenders in the league? Innit? That's a different thing, because we don't let our defenders defend really. We get everyone to defend.
No, and again, and I think that's a massive credit to the way that Arteta has set up the team from a defensive structural perspective, right? Like yes, you're right. Every single player defends in a way that I've never seen an Arsenal team defend collectively.
Yeah,
in my life, right?
Yeah,
collectively. But also, we do finally have exceptional players who are very, 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 very good at defending as well.
So we should let them defend then, right?
And that's the point. So, for example, I think he seems very enamored with Calafiori, and I think he knows that there's a roguishness to him, but he probably is. And he did well against Salah. I don't think Salah had his best game, but there's always the narrative as well. It's because Calafiori stopped him. He did.
There's a couple really horrendous touches in there as well,
which he kind of has. But I think the overall reason as to why he bought Calafiori, why he bought Hincapié, they are excellent defenders. They're in teams, in theory, that attack loads, that also didn't have as much structure as what Arsenal have, but they are brilliant defenders. Same goes for Gabriel. Same goes with Saliba. The whole reason why he bought Mosquera from a Valencia team that has been crap for ages, and yet he's an excellent defender. So yeah, maybe you're right. That's an interesting point. You just let them defend. Let the defenders defend. A little bit how like Liverpool are doing, which is that they rely on Konate and Van Dijk to do ridiculous things. You know,
this is it. Like this is the way they defend against us, right? Basically, and this really leads very nicely onto I think the next point we're going to talk about, which is probably like how the game changed in the second half. So they brought on Curtis Jones, and I think immediately when they brought him on, I was like, this is a problem, because they're going to get a lot more possession now in midfield. They're going to pick up areas we don't want to pick up, and this is going to get tougher for us right now. So when I saw that, I was like, he needs to change it now. Well, we need to bring Eze and Nyaneri or Odegaard. We just need to do something different now.
Don't wait another 5 to 10 minutes.
And it was 10 minutes we waited, right?
To make that change.
And what they did is that they basically all said, cool, we're all going to push up. We're going to go man for man with their attackers, and we're going to go for it. So that's to the point of they let the defenders defend, basically. You know, Konate sometimes in about 20 yards there, he has the space by himself and he's defending against a player because that's just what he has to do, right? And they're happy to do that. How did you feel that from that point? Because I think pretty much from 45 to about 65, it was a bit of a meh game again. It was
sort of a non-event, really. Although anybody and their dog knew that, as we've both mentioned, I mentioned it at the earliest part of the pod, and you've mentioned it on a couple of occasions already as we've got through the middle of it, which is that the momentum was going to shift. You knew it. You've got Anfield. You're at Anfield away. They're going to try and do something about it. And as you said, copy paste. They're going to bring on a high possession midfielder, and they're going to bring on a new winger. He did exactly that. So if we all know that, why the hell does Arteta not know that?
Yeah.
And I think that's, again, it's reactivity versus proactivity. There wasn't enough in the 45-minute to 60th minute, that 15-minute window. For me, if I were manager, okay, I'm nowhere near as qualified in the slightest, but let's say for fun, I look at that and say, we don't have enough here. We don't have enough to win this game. So why am I going to wait for Slot to play the card first? Because as soon as you have to and not only did you, it's not as if you made the change immediately. No, like you said, you waited 10 minutes to make the change, and you've allowed the game to already get away from you. And and I think actually on reflection, your point is even more stronger, which is that Liverpool were always going to go and try and win it. They weren't not trying to win it. It's just that you're probably right. We are so well structured and we're so defensively strong that they pretty much didn't have an answer for us. Ekitike looked non-existent.
Yeah.
Gakpo, like Timber's an amazing defender. He's
so
good.
He just manhandled him the whole game. Like
the whole game. Like
as
again,
much as the referees just tried to keep giving him fouls from fucking nothing. Like it's pathetic, man. I don't even want to get to referees conversation.
No, let's not do it. Let's not do it because we'll be here all night. But again, so we stifled them completely. But we looked leggy. We looked tired. And yeah, it was impressive what Declan Rice was doing in those moments because he had to do it. There was nothing helping him. I wouldn't have minded even taking off Calafiori and bringing on Lewis Skelly to give us another body in midfield who can dictate the ball. That actually, for me, I was asking for that even more so than, okay, I wanted Eze to start anyway, but more than bringing on Maneri. I don't think we should have brought on Odegaard personally because he didn't look fit and he didn't look capable of being able to do what he needed to do to win that game for us. I would have brought on Lewis Skelly to make sure that we had more control of the ball. Yeah, okay, it would have been slightly more risky with Salah, in theory. But if you're going to keep on Martinelli for as long as you had at that point, I just don't see what you're losing.
I think you're right. I think not to go on about it too much. I think you just have to sometimes surprise your opponent a little bit and give them something to think about where they think that they're in control and they're going to make the next move, but actually
let the other manager go and think. Like it's not always on you to wait for them to. You don't have to always counter them. They have to also play against us, right?
Yeah.
That's the point of football. It's like a game of chess. If you're going to sit there and just be like, okay, you do all the attacking and we'll just
try and figure it out. What is that? Like, what is that? Exactly?
Then you're never going to win. You're never going to win these big games that you need to win in order to win the league.
Yeah. But then obviously we move on to obviously the ball gets played to Curtis Jones or Szoboszlai, I think it is. I'm not sure who plays it. He turns. So Curtis Jones turns. Sorry, Zubamendi fouls him. I think all of us at that point were like, oh, good foul.
Fine.
Good foul.
Right decision. Personally.
And then I saw Szoboszlai lining up for the free kick or where it was, and I was like, this is going in.
We all knew it.
I was like, it's obviously going. I was sitting next to.
It's Arsenal heritage. It's in the history of the Arsenal that ball goes in.
I was sitting next to my friend, right, and we watched the game, and I basically said to him like, "Yes, it's going in." He was like, "Oh, nah, man. People don't really score free kicks from this range. Like, oh, he's not going to score. He ain't scored one in ages." I just looked at him and I was like, when this goes in, I'm blaming you. Yeah, when this goes in, this is on you, innit? You and you only. And then when it went in, I was like, I hold you. I was like, hold you wholly responsible for
life.
He's like, oh, nah, it's not like that. I don't believe in that stuff. I was like, yeah, well, it doesn't matter because you did it.
Because I do. I believe in it, and he did it.
Yeah, and he fucking did it. And it was just. Michael Owen said something really interesting. He said, he feels like the wall's a bit more of a hindrance at that point, at 30 yards out.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Because not that any goalkeeper would have stopped it, but actually,
that free kick.
You think Raya's stopping it? It hits the post first, bro.
You know what? I have this is funny. We'll talk about it in a second. I have an issue with it. Basically, you know me. I got an issue with it, man. So I'll tell you.
Yeah, we have an issue. You have a general issue with David. We both have a general issue with David Raya that he needs to be.
I have an issue with that free kick because I don't think that goes in if he's 2 inches taller.
You think he's getting a hand to it?
Yeah.
Before it even strikes the post, basically.
Yeah. So my point is, when you look at the free kick,
I'm being bare peak if I think that, but I'm I'm kind of happy that you think it.
But you know why I think that though? I have a physics base of thinking that.
Gone.
So the ball, in my opinion, is it's going away from goal, and then it hits the inside post and goes in, right? So it's going like that, yeah. So the point being is that it hit where it hit the post is the only place it could have hit the post for it to go in because it hits the post and it goes bang straight in. If he gets even a fingertip to it, he's pushing it further away. He's probably hitting the post coming out or it's going out, it's going wide. So my issue is that I think he's just a bit too small. And I've always thought this, right? I think he's got a great leap and they said it, they mentioned it on the Afterwards podcast, which is fair enough. He's got a great leap, he's got great vertical, he's athletic, fine. But my issue is that he will always just struggle with certain shots because he's not tall enough. And then the counter to that will be, Courtois 6'7" and Declan Rice, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but we're not talking about Declan Rice's in-swinging curler that fucking goes in the top-hand corner postage stamp, right, from like 25 yards out where you can't even get there quick enough. We're talking about a shot from 30 yards which you've watched, you've seen, you've taken a step to the right-hand side, you've dived, and you still missed it. So it's like, he didn't blame the ball. He talked about the ball with the Puma ball, and I agree. The ball does move differently. You have to get used to it, and it's just you've been using a Nike ball for the last however many years, and now you got to have a Puma ball, and it is just different. So I do understand that. But I will always have an issue with my keeper if he's 6 foot. I'm sorry, like you're just not going to get to certain things. I'm maybe being harsh, but that's just who I am. So.
No, I think that's just fact, isn't it? There's irrespective of how athletic you are, you haven't got a long enough arm span to reach.
Wingspan, yeah.
You don't have the wingspan to reach certain balls. It's just what's the reality, really.
Yeah, because
like Zubamendi is
corner.
almost the same size as him.
Really,
Zubamendi's like taller than what you actually think.
He didn't look it. He looks tiny.
He does because again, it's where he's playing, right?
Yeah, he looks tiny. He's like 5'6".
Yeah, but he's not. He's like actually. I think he's actually taller than what you would expect.
Let me check.
But if your goalkeeper, yeah, like fact check me on this one. But I think he's actually not as small as you think he is. He's not tiny.
Oh shit! He's 5'11".
Told you. So he's an inch shorter than our goalkeeper, bro.
Fuck me. That's actually very, very surprising.
Which is great for us because that means he has the height in the center of the park, which is necessary in the Premier League for sure. Okay, he's not Rodri height, but still, yeah. A goalkeeper is an inch smaller than someone who you think is tiny. Or an inch taller, sorry, that someone who you think is tiny.
Yeah, right? But again, I'm not. But I don't blame him though. I don't blame him. I'm just saying that like I'm not gonna sit there and act like there's nothing else he could have done. I think that maybe he maybe could have saved it. But it is what it is. Like it's gone.
As in, the only thing is, had he been able to guess, and had he been it seemed weird that how much of a shift to the left first he took, and then he took a little hop.
Did he take a little hop back?
He took a little hop back. That's as I saw it. He takes a little hop back.
I saw him go to the left, and I was like, okay, well, I can't blame you for not moving your feet quick enough because sometimes I have that issue with him. But I didn't know he took another hop back.
It's a half step. It's a half step.
Yeah, but it kills him though. It kills him. That's the thing. Because he has to then jump back off his half step to try and save it. And if he keeps going that way, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna blame him, and it is what it is. It's a wonder free kick, and I think Slot said it perfectly, which is that we played this game 10 times, 8 times it's a draw, 1 time Arsenal win, 1 time we win. So. It is what it is, man. Like I said, I'm not that bothered about the result. Not that bothered about the result.
It's just the way. It's just the way it's happened.
Yeah, it's just sad, man. It's just sad. Like I want to go to fucking Anfield and the Etihad, right? Because we've not won there at all. Arteta's not got a single win there ever, right? I get it. It's hard to win there unless you're Tottenham, obviously, because you just go to Etihad and win all the time.
But then go and get massively destroyed by Bournemouth.
It's weird. It's weird, isn't it? It's just very weird. But like, it's upsetting for me that we haven't had that performance where we've gone to away there and we've really just put on a show, right? Even if you don't win, like you draw, but it's like a 2-2, and you've basically like gone out and given everything. Like for example, like the last time I thought we did that was the 2-2 draw at Anfield when we should have won it really in the end, and then we didn't. But even then,
as in the one where we were still playing Rob Holding at the back.
Yeah, when Ramsdale had an absolute fucking blinder, like he's just crazy. Like, would have gone on an Arsenal folklore if we'd won the league after that, because he was just exceptional. So shout out to Aaron Ramsdale for giving me one of the best, potentially one of the best moments of my life. If Martinelli plays that ball through to Saka and Saka finishes that goal and we win, but it is what it is. We go back to the same age-old issue with Martinelli. But
this is the thing, right? I feel like I keep on saying that. I need to think of some different terms, but why are we sweating all of our coming of age performances?
Yeah,
I feel like the coming of age stuff usually happens in like there's the season where it goes bang. We get ours one per season, and it's just one. We get Bournemouth, Reece Nelson, that one big. We got Real Madrid, one big. You could throw the Etihad in there, but it's a dying city at that point anyway. It's Etihad, sorry, the city at the Emirates. But again, it's at the Emirates. We've been them there before. It's not like it's impossible. But you're just waiting for the bang, and you just don't. That's what this game could have been, and
It's
it's
very
and it's a
anticlimactic.
free one, bro. It's a free one. It's
Yeah.
Anfield in August, man. Like it's
Yeah,
just
it's sad.
there.
It's
Just
also sad that
take
it's
it.
also sad that we never really get to go to these places with like in full strength and with Saka and Havertz available and we don't get to do that, unfortunately. And I just want to be able to kind of like go to these games and go into games finally just with a healthy squad consistently. We don't have too many injuries, and you know what? Like the season was a difficult start.
Mm.
It's only really about to get a bit more difficult. However, yeah, we're going to St. James's Park, but they just lost their best striker, man. They just lost their best player. So we're going away there, and we're going to go away
And
to
their
the
new
Etihad.
striker, their new striker, by the way. Did you did you hear who his favorite player is?
Ah, man. You know what? I don't know why Kai
His
Havertz has so
his.
much motion in Germany, bro.
I don't
He
know.
has so much motion in Germany. Even Word said he was.
Loads.
But you know what? Fine. Listen, fine, man. If prove
Game
me
knows
wrong,
game,
then
bro. Game knows
prove
game, bro.
prove me wrong, then please,
Game knows
bro.
game,
Prove
bro.
me wrong, bro. Like, show me. Come back from this injury that you have, yeah, and just show me it because I'm still gonna sit here and I'm just not gonna rate you, bro. Like, I'm sorry, but who knows, man? Who knows? I don't know, man. I just miss like the Neymars and like the Messis and the fucking David Villas and the Iniestas of the game, bro. I miss the Ronaldo, Benzema, Bales. I miss those teams and the Modric's and the guys who used to just play great football. Like I just miss that sort of team, and I even just miss the Fabregases and the Van Persies and the Halebs and the Resistis. I was watching do you remember we were playing Tottenham in the Carling Cup ages ago,
Oh,
and Henry
ridiculous game.
and Henry Lansbury scores like
No, Henry. Henry
yeah,
Lansbury
yeah.
scores
Henry
again.
Lansbury scores, and it's like in that game, like Rosicky was starting and like Wilshere was starting, and the way they scored the goal was like he plays it there, Rosicky just doesn't do it, stands on the wall, plays it there, and it's bang goal. And I'm like, I just miss watching footballers like this. I miss it. I miss just watching like when he gets the ball, like oh he's probably just gonna do something mad here, or he's just gonna like play it, move it, play it, bang, bang, bang.
Cazorla used to do it. Arshavin used to do it. All these
Yeah,
players.
yeah.
It
You
just makes
just miss
and
combination play. I miss combination play. We don't have any combination play anymore.
which is crazy, right? Because they're doing rondos all day, every day,
Yeah.
and you're thinking you should be able to do that. I'm hoping players like Zubamendi, if Rice can start playing a bit closer to him, one tactical evolution I would like to see, maybe, and this might be not with Odegaard, but maybe giving Nwaneri a better shot at it, or maybe playing Eze, is more of a 4-2-3-1. A little bit like what Liverpool are trying to do now with maybe Wirtz playing as a more conventional number 10. And I think rather than having this player, if you're worried about a right side bias, then get your most 10 of your three centre midfielders to play more in the centre of the pitch. That's how what Nwaneri was doing a lot more in pre-season, where he would pick up more pockets in on the left side as well as the right side, giving him more opportunities to go and shoot, for instance, and create more space. And Odegaard at his best 2-3 seasons ago, when he was scoring away at Spurs and stuff, was scoring from more those sort of angles, more central angles. And I think that's something that we're missing a little bit because, as you say, there's a predictability of a formulaic aspect to the way in which we attack, and maybe just a simple tweak of telling your Odegaard or your Nwaneri to just come in and play a bit more centrally could make a big difference to the way that we do that. Or Eze, if you want to be able to have someone, as you say, you could create those combinations much better than what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah,
But
I think
your
obviously
solution is not Havertz and isn't Marino to make that football come back. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. And I think obviously, if we move on now to just kind of going forward, obviously it's been international break, and we got Forest on Saturday, first game after international break, which is always a tough one. First game after international break, early games.
They never make it easy.
No, but we're at home. We're at home.
Yeah, we're at home.
That's a good thing. We're at home. So, it could be worse. It could have been like Liverpool's Klopp, where, they're coming off 14-hour flights from South America, and then you're having to go away 12:30, which they did all the time. So it's not the worst thing in the world. It's nice early kickoff. Who would you like? Okay, barring pending injuries are fine and teams fit. Obviously, Saka's injured. Obviously, I get it, and Havertz is injured. What would you like the starting lineup to be of that? And obviously, Saliba is injured for about 3-4 weeks. But the good thing is that we have all these depths now, right? So
yeah, I think a couple of things, to be honest. I'd say, yeah, Ryan goal. Doesn't look like Ben White's fully fit still, is he? So it'll probably Timber
Yeah.
starting. Something weird going on with him, I think, which is a bit of a shame, to be honest. But yeah, so Timber right back, Mosquera, Gabriel pick themselves. Gabriel obviously has been playing for Brazil. I'm not sure where he's been playing. I think he has been back all the way in South America,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. South America, yeah, yeah.
well, we don't have another option really, unless he decides to give Calafiori, like Gabriel, a bit of a rest if he needs it, and you play Calafiori there. But you
Yeah.
can't risk it. You can't.
Can't risk it. Can't,
You
no,
can't
you
risk
can't
it.
really.
You,
It's too
you
early in
can't
the
risk.
season. You've lost already. You got to win
You've
again, man. You
lost
got to
already.
win.
Yeah, exactly. One of your like FPL like get out of jail free cards is
It's
gone.
done.
So
Yeah.
it's done. So he'll start Gabriel, and then I think he'll probably start Calafiori. I personally, with the signing of a Capier, I wanted to ask you this: what do you think the future holds a little bit for Mars Lewis-Skelly in terms of the team? Because
Is he
I
not a right
actually thought,
back? Is he not a right
sorry,
back?
second,
Is he not a right? Is he a left back?
he's a left back, yeah.
Oh damn.
He's
Okay,
a
so
he's a left centre half / left back. A little bit more. He did more wing back play at Leverkusen.
yeah.
Um, if he wasn't really a conventional left back, let's say, but he also played the left, sort of on the left side of a three as well. And he's like aggressive. People have compared him a little bit Romero-esque in terms of he's hard
Maybe.
on the challenge.
Well, again, so I can't speak about the player. I've never really watched him consciously. Like, 'cause I might have watched a game where he's playing, but I've never consciously watched him. I've not watched any clips really. I've watched a few.
He ain't gonna start for sure. But what I'm saying is, I just wanted to ask you before I go through the rest of the team.
But I was
What do you
going to
think about
say,
Miles?
I was going to say actually, just from what you said about how he is, and obviously how he started with Calafiori, it seems like I say Wenger. I wish. It seems like
That's crazy that you say that, bro.
I know, man.
You
I
were
know,
so
man.
hard out for so long.
I know, man. I know. I miss him, man. I miss him. Wish he was back. But I feel like he wants the left back now to start running ahead of the ball a lot more, whereas Miles doesn't do that, right? Miles is more take the ball, invert. I think he's maybe moving away from the traditional inverting of the left back. Only now, as in for like a certain game state, right? Because he probably thinks, well, Rice is not running ahead of the ball anymore. He's definitely sticking more to like a double pivot, so we don't need another guy inverting there because there's no point. It's just going to get too packed. So I want my left back to kind of run further ahead of the ball. I just think that
make the pitch bigger, right?
This is it, yeah. So I just think probably what he's going to do is I think maybe Miles is someone who's going to slowly transition into that kind of centre midfield kind of role, and he'll move more into midfield slowly. But I think he'll be always available to then, if we need to change the game state and have a bit more, a bit more bodies in midfield, then he can move into that inverted left back space still as well. And I also think that he's only 18, man. Like he's only 18. Like he's got a lot of football to learn, and he's got a lot of his game to develop. I think he came on the scene so hot that everyone was like, oh my god, so great. And obviously I was like that as well. Like he's amazing. Right. But then when you watch him more and more, he still has a lot of flaws in his game.
Yeah, and understandable, right?
Yeah,
again,
to iron out. Yeah, he's only 18.
Yeah, he's only 18.
What about you?
But yeah. Again, my prevailing hope is that I find him. He's actually more than anything, rather than sitting there and getting coaching sessions from Gabriel Heinze to try and make him into the ultimate left back. I'd rather see him be mentored by Zubamendi and learn how to play the six, because I think just the way he plays, how well he can most of the time look after the ball, and hopefully in time how good his passing can get. I think he could be an excellent understudy to have with Zubamendi in the long run. I know you have Norgard there, but he's very, he's much more of a destroyer sort of like backup, right? But I would love to see Miles Lewis-Skelly get the opportunity.
Fucking forgot about that guy.
Exactly. Everybody's forgotten about him, but he should, in theory, should be back as well.
Hopefully.
Anyway, rest of the team picks itself. I think Zubamendi, yes. Rice, yes. Odegaard sporting a new haircut, looking a bit more.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking a bit more. I don't know.
Rugged.
Rugged, yeah. I was gonna say wiry, and I was like, that's not a compliment. Rugged. And yeah, if Odegaard's fit, he'll probably will start Odegaard. I wouldn't mind seeing Nwaneri play in this game. I think Forest at home, you should maybe give him a chance. He hasn't gone away for international break or anything like this. Did he go under 19s?
Yeah, he's there. Under 21s, I think.
Under 21s, okay, fair. But again, he hasn't played loads of football.
No.
I wouldn't mind giving him a shot, to be honest. But again, I don't think it will. So Odegaard most likely plays. And then you've got Madueke, Gyökeres, and Eze will start.
I think so, yeah. Yeah. I think so. I think.
Any changes from your end?
No. I agree. I think, barring any injuries, that we said, I would like to see Eze start. That would be a nice thing to see. Nottingham Forest, they've just lost to West Ham away.
They
Sorry,
got smacked as well,
lost
man.
at home. Sorry, at
You know
home.
what? You know what annoys me about that result is
Mm.
that I went long on with a free hit on Fantasy Premier League, man.
No.
It's a free hit, and I
You went
thought
free hit already. You went free
I
hit
went free hit
already.
already. I went free hit
Wild.
already, man. I went free hit
That's
already,
wild.
and I thought I was honestly on paper it looked excellent, and it wasn't. And
It's even
because
worse for me. I did this
why?
thing. I did this. My barber, he basically was like, "Oh, we're doing this kind of, I forgot what it's called. Like, it's basically where you pick a team to win get that game
Yeah.
week, and if they win, then you progress to the next round, and if they don't win, then you're out, basically, right? And
Okay,
then,
okay.
And then you
Yeah.
can, and then last man standing. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Okay.
And then if you for the first 3 weeks, if you lose and you don't go through, you can buy back in for £10. So you like first buy in's £10, and then you do it again.
Yeah.
So the first week I picked I can't remember who I picked. I think I picked no, I think I picked Arsenal.
Okay.
Right? But sorry, the rules is that if you pick the team you pick, you can't then pick again the rest of the season.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wait.
So
Wow.
So like, and I probably didn't pick Arsenal. I think I picked someone else because I thought I don't want to like go too early on Arsenal because there'll be easier games where we can probably win the game, right?
Yeah.
So I picked someone, went through, whatever. Then the second game, I picked Brighton to beat Fulham at home, and they didn't. So I was out already. So I bought back in, and then I picked someone else, and it was calm, and then I got through. And then this week I was like debating between Man United at home to Burnley and obviously Nottingham Forest at home to West Ham. West Ham have been garbage, right? And I was like, you know what? I was like, I just don't trust United. Like, I just don't trust them.
No, of course, same. I mean, because how funny was that Grimsby game, man? Like,
yeah. So I don't trust
funny.
them, right? So I picked Nottingham Forest, and they were playing the 5:30. I think they were playing the 5:30 against West Ham, and Man United was 2-2, and I was like, oh, this is great. Like, I made the right decision. Fucking, of course, to get a last-minute penalty, they score it. And then I took the score of the West Ham game, and it was 0-0 for ages.
Yeah, well,
and then they fucking lost 3-0. And then it's so funny because like so many people had picked Nottingham Forest that week, and it's just like you see all these reds on the thing, and I was like, you know what? He's like, oh, you can buy him back in one more week. I'm not doing that, man.
yeah.
Like,
See, well done. You wait. Stop when you need to stop. Right. That's the
it,
lesson.
Man.
That's the lesson, kids.
When the fun stops, stop.
That's
man.
it. When the fun stops, stop. And you were relying on Chris Wood to bring you your happiness. Just
because I was like, oh, I'm not gonna pick Liverpool, and I'm not gonna pick like Arsenal like this early because I'll wait, and I just got fucked basically. So like that's just betting is
anyway,
bad. Everyone,
listeners, you'll be able to look forward to this little new segment that we're going to have. Is did Aaron buy back in? And I'm sure throughout the season there will definitely be more instances where he does.
No, I can't buy back in. I can't. Like,
I only buy back in once. That's it.
No. As in like this. I have an opportunity now to buy back in to the 4th game week, but after that point, if you're out, you're out.
Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Well, then here's the cliffhanger for the pod, then, guys. Will
you were like, that changes stuff. Actually,
yeah, actually, will Aaron Bill buy back in? Tune in next week.
Will, man.
I know he will.
Yeah.
Oh God. Anyway, we should knock this on the head.
We should, but I think one thing we want to talk about
tell me.
before we go was the Punjabi Gunners.
Oh yes, of course. So shout out to Bally and the guys who I had the opportunity of meeting at the Emirates Cup, and the boys messaged me afterwards, rightly, because they saw that in our YouTube notes of the last podcast we were introducing and talking about the Punjabi Gooners. Well, boys, just wanted to say, Maafi karo, sorry boys, because basically through the editing, somehow all of the bit where we're speaking about you guys and the amazing work that you're doing in terms of getting Punjab and Arsenal together and out there for the community was lost. And so we're going to make sure that we're going to talk about you boys now. So yeah, just wanted to say it's amazing that we see this representation. It makes a massive difference for us as fans and as people of the diaspora to see that representation in the stadium. That Eze shot of him pointing up, and he's pointing up in the Punjabi Gooners flag, is the greatest thing that's ever happened. And yeah, I think it's long overdue. And if anything that we can do to continue supporting you guys, and I know obviously it's going a bit slightly off tangent, but of course what's happening in Punjab at the moment with the floods is horrific, and I know that you boys have been trying to make sure that you're raising awareness about that as well. On top of the fact of speaking about the Arsenal, so yeah, and of course, Aaron, you'd actually started interacting with the guys as well, right?
Yeah,
Right when
yeah,
they started off, right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, maybe not probably right when it started off, but I think my first point of contact was just that, I think I managed to get invited to the group, which is great, on the WhatsApp, and it's a lovely group. Guys are amazing. They organize a lot of stuff. There's obviously they're always trying to help each other out in terms of like getting tickets and like getting opportunities. So yeah, awesome guys, man. Just really really supportive. Obviously, just always want to kind of profile us and put us and push us up to the wider public, which we really 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 appreciate. And this is just an open invitation to the guys. When they do see this, then obviously we'll talk to them. Hopefully, we'll have some of the guys on, and they can talk about what they're doing and what their goals are for Punjabi Gunners and Punjabi Gunners as well, going forward. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys, man. Really appreciate your support.
Pleasure talking to you, mate. And we'll chat after the Nottingham Forest game, innit?
Will do.
After we get a big dub there, much needed.